Movies as art have the ability to change you as a person. It might sound pretentious, but I genuinely believe that movies are powerful, have the ability to communicate raw emotions better than any other art form. It's a universal language, and there is something for everyone. There are some movies that have changed my life. Only Yesterday, About Time, and It's Such a Beautiful Day, to name a few. If someone were to watch these and come out without the same feeling I did, I would understand. However, there are two movies I believe every single person should watch and would benefit from. There's not a single person whose life wouldn't improve if they watched Paddington 1 and 2. These movies make you a better person. Why am I bringing this up now? The third Paddington is about to hit US theaters. I'm excited but also worried. I love the first two, but I have some reservations about this third one. My main point of worry is director Paul King would not be returning. Instead, Dougall Wilson is helming the project. This is his first feature film, having mostly directed commercials and music videos. I have reservations about a relative nobody who has very little filmmaking experiences taking over from Paul. Paul was such a vital part of the first two in their energy. He brought similar vibes to Wonka. My fear is that Paul is the heart of these movies. With him gone, the magic of the first two might also leave. To counter myself a little bit here, Paul wasn't a well-known director at the time of the first movie. I shouldn't judge Dougall before he gets a shot. My second biggest worry is that Sally Hawkins didn't return as Mary Brown. Sally has claimed she felt like it was time to move on from the series, and she passed over the role to somebody else. But I've also seen people say she had lupus and couldn't travel to film. In my opinion, this is a bad loss. On the same level as losing the director, Paul King, Sally Hawkins' performances in the movie is severely underrated. One of the best ever, with her joy and compassion. The way she teaches Paddington and is a guidance to him. Upon every rewatch, she gets better and better. I don't think she is brought up in the conversation of best performances ever nearly enough. But I sit here questioning the third film. What would Paddington do? What would he think about all of this? He would tell me not to worry. This kind of negativity is antithetical to the teachings of these movies, so I will no longer let myself be worried. Thursday night, I will go to the theater and enjoy the third movie. Now time to explain what I meant by the Paddington films make you a better person. Paddington is a beacon of good in this world. This little bear is a better person than anyone ever in such a simple, pure way. He sees the light in people. The littlest things communicate just how nice Paddington is, tipping his hat and saying hi to every person he passes, and he's enthused to do so. He is a ball of joy, a being that is too good to be true. Every human should aspire to be Paddington, as compassionate, accepting, and caring as this bear. It sounds so dorky and pretentious when I say it, but the film doesn't come off that way. These movies are genuine. They never come off as preachy, never trying to force a lesson in your face, but instead just presenting you a story, one that I think everybody could take something from. Paddington even gives compassion and care to people who treated him poorly. Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant's characters do awful stuff, trying to kill him, framing him for a crime, and putting him in prison. But Paddington extends the olive branch and doesn't believe they are irredeemable monsters. He sees the best in every individual, the circumstances that led them to how they were in life. There is another side to Paddington as well. He does get sad, especially in the second one. As he sits in prison, he struggles keeping up with his morale. He thinks the Browns have turned their back on him and threw him out as a criminal along with the rest of the world. This affects him. He is shown to be flawed. Upon learning it was all a misunderstanding, Paddington accepts and forgives. I think it's a crucial part of these movies that Paddington struggles some of the time. He has layers that further give a reason to look up to him. It would have been so easy to have this oblivious character, his kindness overpowering all other emotions, but giving him time to sit in sadness and despair really rounds out his character, making the movie resonate deeper and feeling way more realistic. Henry Brown starts the movie a critical, cynical fun sponge. He doesn't believe Paddington and tries to hurry the bear out of his life, but as time progresses, Henry realizes the good Paddington is doing for the Browns, bringing his daughter out of her shell, increasing her confidence, giving his son somebody to equal his energy, and helping his wife with her art. Henry comes to the conclusion that Paddington is a force of good. He buys into the charm and learns to adopt some of Paddington's lifestyles, making him and his family happier in the process. Henry is a stand-in for the more cynical members of the audience, for people who took the time to warm up to the magic of the movie, people who doubted it at first, but gave it a chance. Paul King magically makes a movie about a cute talking bear into the single greatest piece of anti-prison media ever. He instilled a message about human nature and rehabilitation into such a palatable movie, made it very digestible so every person could understand, instead proposing actual reform through being friends with the bear. In real life, we don't have Paddington, so we should make a better system, one that focuses on education, job training, mental health, and therapy. In the movies, Because that's what Paddington provides all of these prisoners. He gets them to open up, mature, reflect, and find community. So once released from prison, they have the ability to turn their life around and do good. All of what I've talked about is why the Paddington movies make you better. You pick up on the traits of Paddington, learn how to appreciate life more, and be happier all around. Become a better, more complete human. It doesn't teach by preaching. It shows, doesn't tell. Passively showing you that joy is the right path. With the world seemingly getting worse and worse every day, and news headlines being awful to read, it's nice to have a reminder of good. Paddington is that force of good. And it's also just a really fun, engaging movie. Entertaining, well written, well shot, well acted. You can't ding the Paddington movies on the technical front at all. I often push back against blanket statements when it comes to filmmaking. Stuff like, if you dislike a certain movie, it makes you sexist. If you like this certain movie, you don't feel empathy and are empty-hearted. I find these generalizations to be reductive when talking about film. There are countless ways to interpret a movie. I try not to make assumptions about a person's character from an opinion on a movie without digging into their thought process. But I think disliking Paddington is a red flag. Upon first reaction, hating this bear says something about you. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and talk about it. I find these movies to be so universal. They're movies made for everyone. I've heard people say that they're too kiddish, and that they aren't going to give a kids movie a try. I try to bring up how this is so much more than that. Bring up the depth and how it transcends being a kid movie, which nobody is ever receptive to. People always assume you have to be joking when calling Paddington 2 one of the greatest ever, dismissive of the movie until they actually watch it. I know one person who has watched these movies and didn't like them. When I asked him why, he told me it wasn't good. Nothing concrete, just that it wasn't good. That being the only thing he could say opened my eyes. He didn't like it because he was afraid of joy, afraid of being uncool or opening up. There was a certain refusal to let yourself enjoy silliness, and that applies to people who don't like this movie, I think. I'm not saying that automatically makes you a bad person, but it's a sign that there are stuff you should work on, I think. It's a hint that you should look within yourself and see if there is something blocking you from liking this movie other than you just didn't enjoy it. See if there is some deep-seated reason. There are most likely people out there that don't like this without an underlying dissatisfaction of life, but I haven't met those people. Even with people who have real reasons to dislike this movie, they will most likely take something away from it. It improves their life in just the smallest ways. After having talked about Paddington this much and hyped it up, I will admit it's not wholly life-changing. You're not going to come out a completely different person, but I think it subconsciously lifts you up and changes how you think. It might just do it for a day or two after the movie, but it might stick. I sit here at the end of this video wondering what the point of any of it was. I'm not entirely sure. At the very least, it's a plea for you to go watch these movies if you haven't. Go in with an open mind. If aliens came to Earth and I could show them one movie, it would probably be Paddington 2. It represents the best of humanity. Making this video has made me way more excited for the third. I'm so glad that I did that. Hopefully, Paddington in Peru doesn't disappoint. No, scratch that. This movie will not disappoint. If you liked the video, subscribe, like, and comment. I reply to comments and would love to discuss movies with you. Thanks for watching.